Ever feel like happiness is this thing you're always chasing, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like a butterfly that's always just out of reach.
Totally.
Well, today,
Uh-huh.
we're going to give you the tools to create the right conditions for happiness.
Okay.
So it's not about chasing it. It's more like
Yeah,
inviting it in, you know?
I like that.
We're diving into an excerpt from this text
Ugh.
called The Pasted Text.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got all these practical ideas for a happier life, but they're framed as these mantras,
Mantras. Huh.
but not the kind you just meditate on.
Okay. So what's different about these?
Think of them more like principles
Gotcha.
you can actually use in your everyday life.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're more like actionable steps.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
The pasted text frames these mantras as ways to actually shape your reality. It's not about just like hoping for happiness, you know?
Totally. So the first mantra is, get this, mind your own business and let other people mind them.
Whoa, that's pretty direct. Oh,
It is, right?
yeah.
But think about it. How much time do we waste worrying about what others are up to?
Oh, all the time. Comparing ourselves, getting caught up in their drama.
Exactly. This mantra says, reclaim that energy
Okay.
and focus on your own growth instead.
I see. So it's not about being like completely indifferent to others.
No, not at all.
But more about setting boundaries.
Right, healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
So you can protect your own peace and stay focused.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about recognizing that you're on your own path, and comparing yourself to others is just a distraction.
Exactly. And that leads perfectly into the next mantra, which is detach yourself from your past.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It can be, but the past can really hold us back, can't it?
Yeah, it's easy to get stuck in those old patterns.
This mantra reminds us to acknowledge the past, but not let it control us.
So like learning from it, but not dwelling on it.
Precisely. And the pasted text has this great quote, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is God's gift, which is why we call it the present.
Wow, that's a powerful reminder to stay present, isn't it?
It is so easy to get caught up in regrets or anxieties about what's to come.
Yeah. You lose sight of what you can actually control, which is right now.
Exactly. You know, there's this other mantra that I think we all need to hear more often.
Oh, tell me.
Stop overthinking.
Oh my gosh, yes. Overthinking is such a trap.
It is, isn't it? Like a hamster wheel in your mind.
Totally. Just spinning and spinning, but not going anywhere.
This mantra is like a big stop sign.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do we actually do it, though? Like, it's one thing to say stop overthinking, but it's so hard to actually shut off those thoughts.
It is, yeah. But the pasted text has this
Oh, tell me.
this technique.
Yeah.
You catch yourself spiraling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this helpful?
Okay.
Is this thought actually doing anything for me?
Right. Like, is it serving a purpose?
Exactly. If not, redirect your attention to something more positive.
So it's about being more mindful of our thoughts, not just letting them run wild.
Exactly. It's about making a choice.
Yeah.
Choosing to focus on solutions, possibilities, instead of problems and limitations.
I love that. That ties in really well with the next mantra, which is all about self-acceptance.
Ah, yes. This one's huge. Embracing who you are.
Absolutely. It's the antidote to all that overthinking and self-doubt.
And the pasted text puts it so beautifully.
What does it say?
You are the only version of yourself.
Ooh, I like that.
It's a reminder to celebrate your uniqueness. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone else because your strengths are your own.
That's so important. When you can truly accept yourself, that's when you can start to tap into that real confidence and self-love.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the last mantra in this excerpt, and it's a powerful one.
Okay, I'm ready.
You are the boss.
Ooh, I like that. It sounds like...
Sounds kind of defiant, right?
Yeah, it does, but in a good way.
In a good way. It's about taking ownership of your happiness.
Instead of waiting for it to just happen to you.
Exactly. You have choices, even when things are tough.
Yeah.
You can choose thoughts and actions that lead to more joy.
So it's not about pretending like challenges don't exist.
No.
But more about focusing on what you can control.
Exactly. You can choose your attitude, your perspective, how you respond.
Right. It's about recognizing that power we have. That's where true empowerment comes from, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah, it's a huge difference, isn't it? Knowing you can't control everything, but you can choose how you react.
It is. Like you're not just a passenger anymore. You're in the driver's seat. You're calling the shots.
Exactly. And listen, it's not always going to be a smooth ride. There will be bumps, you know?
Of course, life's like that.
But when you have this mindset, those challenges, they don't seem so scary. You're more resilient.
You know, thinking about these mantras Has there ever been a time where one of them really helped you out?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Big time. I was facing a big career decision once, and I was just completely stuck.
Oh, I've been there.
Just overthinking everything, every possible scenario.
It's the worst.
It was awful, totally draining, and it stopped me from doing anything.
Yeah, I get it. When it's a big decision, it's easy to get paralyzed like that.
Yeah.
So what helped you get unstuck?
Well, funny enough, it was that stop overthinking mantra from the pasted text.
Really?
Yeah, I remembered that advice to just pause, breathe, and really ask myself, is this thought helpful?
Right.
And that was it. Just changing my perspective a little made a huge difference.
Wow. So you're able to step back from all that emotional stuff and make a clearer decision.
Totally. It calmed me down, helped me think more rationally. I could weigh things out and make a choice that felt right, aligned with what I actually wanted.
It's amazing how these simple mantras can make such a difference.
It's not just positive thinking, it's like having actual tools.
Totally. Speaking of tools, I have to mention this book I came across. It's called Happiness Mantra, and it's full of practical strategies
Oh, interesting.
for boosting happiness. Things like mindfulness, gratitude, positive self-talk.
That sounds right up our alley. I always love finding new resources like that.
And it's 50% off right now. If anyone wants to dig deeper, it's definitely worth a look.
Cool. Thanks for the tip. So going back to those mantras, which one really stuck with you?
Good question. I think for me, it's you are the boss. It's so simple, but it's like such a powerful shift in how you think about things.
Right. You're in control.
Totally. It reminds me that I have the power to choose, my thoughts, my actions, my whole experience.
I love that. It's not waiting for happiness, it's creating it.
Exactly.
Right.
And it goes back to that first mantra too, mind your own business. When you feel that strong inside, you don't get swayed by what other people think.
It's true, like a domino effect. One positive change leads to another.
Absolutely. You start to focus on things that make you happy.
Yeah, you're more in tune with yourself and your choices reflect that.
Like you're following your own internal compass.
Exactly. And that's a pretty awesome journey to be on. It's not about some perfect happiness, but just living your life.
Yeah, with curiosity and a willingness to grow.
Exactly. Embracing all of it.
Yeah, it's a journey for sure.
Yeah,
And these mantras are like tools we can use along the way.
I like that analogy. And the best part is they're not rules, they're more like guidelines.
Yeah, you can adapt them to fit your own life.
Totally. It's about finding what works for you.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into these happiness mantras from the pasted text, is there one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest thing is that happiness, it really does come from within.
Yeah.
It's not about what you have or what you
It's
achieve.
a state of being, right?
Exactly. And these mantras, they give us a way to get there.
Right, by changing our mindset.
Yeah, focusing on what we can control.
Taking responsibility for our own well-being.
Exactly.
That's a great way to put it. And to build on that, we want to leave you with final thought,
Okay.
inspired by the pasted text.
Mm.
If you could create your own happiness mantra,
Oh, interesting.
what would it be? What words would guide you on your journey?
That's a great question. I encourage everyone to really think about that. What's your personal guiding principle for happiness?
Yeah, because you have the power to create a life that truly brings you joy.
Absolutely.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into happiness mantras.
It's been fun.
We hope you've learned some new things
Yeah.
and found some tools to help you create more happiness in your life.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.